To bring everything but the hog out. Think we eat nothing but grass, what you talking about? I'm about to jump into the whip and hit the Whole Foods early. Get everything to get that soul food working, like mac and cheese, the collard greens, the black eyed peas, and get a roast of that tofu turkey. Got cornbread, even got stuffing. Mashed potatoes so good, put your hand in it. String beans, and you know we got yams with it. Got
now well over 500,000 vegans, compared to 150,000 10 years ago, with many more committing to go meat and dairy free for this month, for Veganuary. But some animal rights campaigners believe they can save even more animals through vegan activism, such as holding regular protests outside farms and abattoirs. In most cases, it is peaceful and legal, but farmers say they're also facing regular harassment and abuse. Our reporter Amber Hack has spent time with one vegan group called the Save Movement, which says it has a non-violent approach to campaigning.
They say their cause is compassion for animals.
What's going on in there is an injustice.
Concern about animal welfare and a desire for a healthy lifestyle has seen a huge jump in the number of us going vegan, which in turn has led to a rise in those speaking out about animal rights.
What's going on in there is extreme. What's happening to these animals is extreme.
But when does activism become extremism?
Standing up against the animal holocaust.
And what threat is that message causing to Britain's farming industry?
When you're being called murderers and rapists, that's overstepping the mark there.
There's no doubt that veganism is one of the fastest growing lifestyles, with demand for vegan and vegetarian food increasing by 987% last year in Britain. Vegans don't eat or use any animal product or dairy. Most have a deep belief we shouldn't kill animals at all. Close to half of all the UK's vegans are aged 15 to 34, and it's a generation that's now taking up the fight for animal rights. A new group is the Save Movement. There's 42 branches across the UK. They say they have a zero-tolerance approach to animal exploitation. They spend weekends waiting outside slaughterhouses, stopping trucks of animals before they're killed.
A lot of dedicated activists standing out in this weather to bear witness to animals. Obviously what's going on in there is an injustice.
They want to show you exactly what happened to the animal that ends up on your plate.
The first time I'd ever come, I'd prepared myself mentally for seeing pigs on trucks, and what I hadn't prepared myself for was the screams.
The group says that activism isn't violence, and that they have a love-based approach.
Not everyone's like you and don't care about animals.
Oh, I do care about animals.
You care about animals,
Yeah, absolutely.
but you condemn them to a slaughterhouse when you eat them.
The protest started out peaceful, but it's not long into us filming till we see the lengths some of the protesters are willing to go to.
Yeah.
So a group of us decided to go in private entrance to see if the staff would allow us just to spend a few minutes with the pigs.
Get on private property, get off it!
It got really heated.
How dare you treat us like that?
One of the girls was just picked up and flung right at me. You could just hear the pigs screaming. I said, really, we just want to acknowledge the fact that the pigs existed, that they deserve some respect at the end of their lives.
Well, there's no need to push us.
The police came in and tried to calm it down.
This is private property. I respect your right to protest.
The footage quickly spread across social media within days. Whilst the movement has exploded in the past decade, the Vegan Society came up with the term veganism in 1944.
The main dish is made from nuts, whole cereals and soya, which combined are just as high in protein as meat and considerably cheaper.
They say they don't condone any illegal activity, including trespassing on property. And activists are up against an industry that makes billions.
Stop this! Hey, buddy!
I won't get back to that line.
If you get hurt here, I'm responsible.
Farming and meat organisations have met with counter-terrorism police in response to the growth of the movement. The National Pig Association tells this programme its members can't sleep, with activists allegedly turning up at farms and slaughterhouses at night. They called battling vegan activism one of their main challenges for 2018. Over 1 billion farm animals are killed each year in UK slaughterhouses. And the UK has one of the highest animal welfare standards in the world, with the Animal Welfare Act making it an offence to cause unnecessary suffering to any animal. Yet farmers tell us they're being subjected to intolerable abuse.
I don't take any issue with vegans, but what we do care about is when it turns militant.
Do you think the industry feels under threat by this?
People are feeling very threatened, but when you get people storming the mart or, you know, spraying graffiti like it's been happening, and that's really when it's not okay. When you've got people wondering, oh God, I hope my calves are going to be safe tonight. It is starting to become a bit of a problem now when people are getting phones and cameras shoved in their faces, getting interrogated about it when they're just the bloke that drove them there.
How do you feel when you get called a murderer or that you're inhumane to your animals?
Well, I find it degrading, I find it insulting, and I frankly find it barbaric that somebody would accuse the people that make a living off of working the land of mistreating their livestock. When you're being called murderers and rapists, that's overstepping the mark there. I mean, for fairly obvious reasons. But then, of course, you do get death threats, which is quite ironic coming from people that want peace for animals and everything, but then they tell you that, you know, oh, I hope you and your family go and die in a hole for what you do.
Down the death aisles. What's going to happen? What's going to happen, my friend?
Your back's against the wall. There's no one home to call. You're forgetting who you are. You can't stop crying.
What do you think to those people that say the way you behave is almost like an extremist?
An extremist. I would say, as vegans, we want peace, okay? Now, UK is already a country who cares about animals, okay? People in this country care about animals, but their actions don't reflect that. When they buy a chicken breast, that flesh was torn off of an animal who didn't want to die.
Standing up against the animal holocaust.
Standing in the way of control. Down like a black nobody know me when you know.
Do you think you're doing God's work in here, or you're doing God's work here?
People who justify killing animals in the name of God, I question. I say, do you think God really wants this?
Do you feel like that's your place to question such a kind of personal
Okay, so I'm defending animals. I'm speaking for animals. If abolitionists didn't speak up for what happened back then with slaves, it would have never been abolished, okay? And I'm sure it made some slave owners a little bit angry to not have their slaves picking their cotton for them. Okay, we want their job not to directly involve a victim.
If everyone ate plant, we'd be growing a lot less plants than we had to feed animals too.
Human beings can voice their suffering, okay? They've got a chance to escape, okay? Animals have no chance. They are vulnerable.
I don't think that they can understand or like differentiate between the fact that different animals have different purposes. That is an attack on me and people like me, my family, you know.
Inherently, dogs and pigs are the same, but we condemn pigs to gas chambers.
Farming isn't ever going to stop. We're always going to be here. We have to be. We've got people to feed.
So guys, welcome back to another video, and if this is your first time checking out this channel, it would mean a lot for a big thumbs up and a subscribe. Today we're going to be talking about the Victoria Derbyshire Show, talking about vegan activism. There's a lot of great points that come up, and I want to base my views on this. It's really ironic, isn't it, that we've actually been brought up to believe that cruelty to animals is wrong. We would never ever dream of intentionally harming a dog, a cat, a bird, a dolphin or a tiger. Yet on the other hand, we've conditioned to routinely cause tremendous suffering to all other animals such as cows, sheep, pigs, chickens and fish. We don't even pause for 1 minute's thought. There's actually no logical, moral or even biological reason why some animals are considered more important than others. They're equally capable of feeling things like fear and pain, or enjoying fun and affection just as much as me and you are. They fight for their lives until the very last moment, and they're led into that slaughterhouse and put a knife along their throat. They want to live just as much as you, me, or that dog or cat, just as much as any of us. The other part of our conditioning basically is that we've actually been told by people that we trust that we have to do this to animals. That eating meat, dairy and eggs is necessary for us to live. The truth is that we actually do better off without any animal products at all. Animal fat, as we know, and cholesterol have actually been directly linked to all the major diseases known to man, such as heart disease, diabetes, obesity, high blood pressure and cancers as well. A whole foods plant-based diet is the only diet that's actually known and shown to actually prevent heart disease, and actually shown to reverse it as well, and help with many of the major diseases out there. What I would say to you is if you could live your life without hurting and harming others, why wouldn't you? 82% of the world's hungry children actually live in countries where grain and legumes are actually given to livestock as well. So when you think of it as well, guys, a shocking 90% of the world's soya crop, which is a complete protein, is actually fed to livestock. A 10-acre farm can actually feed 60 people by growing enough soybeans and only 2 by raising cattle. If the whole world actually adopted a Western diet, we'd actually need 2 more same-sized planet Earths to actually feed everyone. In terms of the environment as well, just look at it. Livestock agriculture is the biggest contributor to greenhouse gas emissions, rainforest destruction, species extinction, habitat loss and obviously ocean dead zones as well. And a vegan uses 1/13 of the water and 1/18 of the land that a meat eater does as well. Like I say, going vegan cuts your carbon footprint in half. Well, why wouldn't you actually go vegan, save the planet and save the animals? What really kind of struck me is when the farmers were talking about it, she says that she hated people obviously saying that they're rapists and they're murderers and such likes. This is culture again, because we correlate that with humans, because we'd never go out and purposely murder or rape a human, and you wouldn't want to have anybody raped, so why would you say that about an animal? Because at the end of the day, they're thinking that, oh, they know subconsciously that this is what they're actually doing, but that they hate it because they think to themselves, oh, why would that means that I would be raping a human, and they know that that's absolutely wrong, but subconsciously they know that it's wrong to obviously rape the animal. It's absolutely shocking. And what kind of got me as well is she obviously says you go to bed at night and you worry what's going to happen to your animals.
Do you worry about your animals when they're gone?
The slaughterhouse in the last few minutes when the actual truck gets stopped and peacefully the Save Movement activists go up and bear witness, do you worry about it when they lead into the gates and they get strapped up and then slit along the throat and get their head cut off? Do you worry about it then? I really wonder where they're coming from. Also as well, she said that the UK has the greatest animal welfare standards laws around. What? Really? At the end of the day, veganism is not about animal welfare. At the end of the day, that's only the industry's standards for the animal to be looked after to their degree. These animals go through so much distress, it's unbelievable, and at the end of the day they all go to the very same way. They're all led to the slaughterhouse, they're all strung up and they've all got a knife dragged along their throat. So it's absolutely shocking to think. It really, really is. Yourself, if you really looked after that animal and you gave it a loving life and that animal trusted you with every single bit of its being, don't you think you've done it the biggest injustice by leading it to its death? Would you do the same thing to your dog or your cat? So would it be okay for me just to say, oh, my dog is now 10 years old, he's had a good life, I'm just going to send him to the slaughterhouse and just make a dog stew out of him? Really? Is that really an answer and an argument that you can actually make? I don't think so. Somehow it seemed to me like they said that the animal agriculture industry, their biggest target this year is to halt vegan activism. We're seeing that a lot with obviously February dairy, just followed by Veganuary, trying to promote the dairy lifestyle. So it's a big factor that they're actually really worried. It shows that they're on their knees. Like she said, people seem to not understand that certain animals are for purposes, and then they obviously showed the dog. So the dog obviously to her is obviously to herd in the sheep and such likes. Yeah, this is the kind of culture and that we're brought up in. Should culture dictate morality? Because it wasn't that long ago that obviously slaves and black people were obviously seen to have their purpose in this earth, and obviously women were seen to have their purpose. So she's thinking that certain animals such as dogs, as cats, should be seen as obviously animals and pets, yet sheep, cows, pigs, chickens, fish, such likes should also be seen as food. That is the kind of culture that we live in, and that's why that is known as speciesism. And like I say, not that long ago we actually looked upon people of colour and race and obviously women and it's the very same, and we basically had slaves to obviously serve their purpose. And it's why we've got to keep fighting, because at the end of the day this is a supply and demand industry, guys. It's only there because people keep demanding it, and they do know that. They know exactly what they're doing. It's really disgusting to see. At the end of the day, I think it's quite disgusting that she said that there's people obviously sending them death threats and such likes. I don't know any vegan activists that would send anybody a death threat. I really wonder if this is an inside job to obviously discredit us and make us look evil, because they know that it may dampen our message to the public and such likes, because I really doubt that anybody would do that. And if they do that, it's absolutely disgusting, because we're a compassionate, well, we're supposed to be a compassionate vegan movement, and that's what we're all about. We're about compassion to everybody, bearing witness for the 3 minutes before the animals go to slaughter, and being compassionate to the workers as well, because at the end of the day, we're not trying to take their jobs or such likes. We're just trying to give them an occupation that doesn't involve a victim, because this is the argument they come back with. They say it's a personal choice. Well, it isn't a personal choice, because when a personal choice includes a victim, that means it's not really longer a personal choice. We're wanting them to obviously start doing things like growing more vegetables, soya crops and such likes. They can make a great living out of this, and exponentially the vegan movement is moving such way, in a big way recently. And if, as the same old story goes, if you don't get along with the movement, you're left behind, and that's exactly what's happening. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below, guys, what you thought of the documentary. Let me know anything that you think good or bad about the vegan movement. If you aren't vegan, obviously, or if you are vegan, it means the world. Like I say, binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings, and be kind to every kind. The only difference is your perception, and this documentary highlighted that. Binge on life, purge negativity and starve guilty feelings. Speak to you all soon and love you.